What's up, friends? Hey, YouTube. I'm about to do another story time for y'all because I just thought about this time when I ate my first edible and it was hilarious, and I'm gonna share it with y'all. When I was in 11th grade, my friend Michaela, she had made some edible pancakes, and I had never. No, I had smoked before. I had only smoked one time before this, so I never really, had no real marijuana experience before. So my friend had made some edibles, and I wanted to try them. So they were like little mini pancakes. They were probably about this big, and it was we was at school, and it was during breakfast. So she like, I got edibles. You wanna have some? I'm like, yeah. So she give me like maybe five, and I'm eating one, and then at this point, like, they were good, and I'm hungry. It's breakfast time, so I kind of forgot that they were edibles. So I'm just sitting there slamming, like going in. I ate all of them. I think I had six. I might have had five. I might have had seven. Shoot, I don't know. Ate them all. The bell rung. I went to first period. My first period was Spanish. I'm sitting in Spanish class, normal day, going through the motions. And then maybe like 10 minutes before first period ended, y'all. Y'all know that feeling when your foot fall asleep or your hand fall asleep. So I'm sitting there just like this, and I felt that feeling when your foot fall asleep, and it started from my toe. I swear to God, I cannot make this up on everything I love. I'm sitting there, and if y'all had an edible before, y'all probably experienced this too. So I know I'm not lying. I was sitting there, and then I felt that feeling when your foot fall asleep. It started at my toes, and then it just traveled up my whole body, like to the top of my head. I felt it, and I was like, whoa. And after that, it was a rap, like rap Bambino. So at this point, I'm like, I'm high, and I ain't never been high before. Like, in the first time I ever smoked, I don't even think I was hitting the blunt right, because I don't remember being high. I just remember my breath smelled like weed. That was it. So I go to my next class, and honestly, like, I don't even remember how I got to my next class. I don't even remember nothing. I don't remember a thing, Nathaniel. I'm going throughout the day, and then I go to lunch. And I remember being at lunch, eating my food, and then I ate my friend's food, and then I ate my other friend's food, and I had an attitude because all the food was gone, and I was still hungry. And when I tell y'all, I probably looked like this, that's really probably how I looked. So after lunch, I know I went to culinary, and I don't remember what we did in culinary. Like, I really don't remember this day at all. The only three things I remember from, or four things I remember from this day, or five things I remember from this day, is eating the edible, when it hit me in Spanish class, being at lunch, mad because I ain't had no more food, and then being in culinary, and this girl, she looked at me and she said, dude, you look stoned. And I was just like, I am. And then, shoot, next thing I remember after that is waking up in my bed at 11 o'clock at night. Mind you, I think we got out of school at like 2:45, 2:30. Between 2:30, 2:45, and 11 o'clock, when I woke up in my bed, I had no recollection. I have no remembrance of what the heck happened in between those hours. And honestly, now that I'm grown and I think back on it, that was really dangerous, because the high school that I went to, it was called West Valley, and it's in a very, 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 very small town called Anderson, California. No, it's in Cottonwood, California, but I lived in Anderson. And when I tell you, like, it's a really small town, I don't even understand how my father um, found that city, because it's like you really got to be looking for this thing on the map to even know about it. So it was like very, very, very small country town. I think, first of all, me and my brother, we was the only black kids in the school until, except for this girl that I was really good friends with. She was half black, and I think there was another mixed girl. And then a little bit later in the year, once I became a senior, we had got a new kid, and he was black. Like he was black, black. So essentially, there was really only three of us at the school that was actually black. And that's because the town that we lived in, it was like a white town. Like when we had found out that we was moving to Anderson, I remember looking it up on Google, and it said like it will tell you the population and then the diversity basically of the city, and on everything it said it was like 17 black people in the city of Anderson. So I, high as a kite, got on the bus because California don't have school buses. Like in Oakland, we don't have school buses. You take the public bus, or you get a ride, or you walk. There's no in between. But in Anderson, we actually had school buses. So I got on the school bus. No memory of doing so. I got on the school bus, got off the bus, and then had to walk from my bus stop to my house on this old dirt country road, black. Mind you, it was racist in that town too, because on my first day of school, I remember getting on the bus and me and my brother almost jumped this white boy because he told me I couldn't sit next to him because he didn't like black people. So that's the town that I was walking through, high as a kite, by myself because my brother stayed after school. So now that I'm older and I think about it, I'm like, dang, that was really dangerous. Like anybody could have really just came and just snatched me up, did whatever to me, and I was so out of it, I would not have even been able to defend myself. Now on top of that, I live in a very controlling and overprotective household. We weren't allowed to do anything. We weren't allowed to go anywhere. We weren't allowed to have cell phones. We weren't allowed none of that. I wasn't even really allowed to have friends come over. And then when my friends were, the friends that were allowed to come over, they never wanted to come over because we weren't allowed to do nothing at my house or go anywhere. Like, I really lived in a jail, to be honest. So it really blows my mind how I was able to come home so high out of my mind and nobody noticed. I mean, thank God, because I probably would have gotten so much trouble. But it's just really crazy to me. Like, I really got off that bus, walked through the middle of nowhere to find my house, made it to my house at that, made it upstairs to my bedroom, shut the door, and went to sleep. Woke up at 11 o'clock like nothing ever happened. And the next day when I got to school, the next day when I got to school, nobody said nothing about me being high or nothing, because first of all, when I was in school, I didn't play about my grades. Like, I made all A's every single year. I graduated with like a 4.7 or something. And then on top of that, I didn't like B's. Like, if I got a B, that stood for Boosie, and I wasn't Boosie. Like, I was not playing. I always made all A's. I never got in trouble. I didn't talk to nobody because, one, I'm shy. Two, I was the only black girl at my school, so I was surrounded by white people. I didn't feel comfortable because, not like that, but the high school that I came from, we didn't have one white kid at the school, not even one. And then the one boy at the school who did look like he was white, he was actually Spanish. He was just really pale, so he looked like he was white, but he wasn't white. He was Spanish. So I went from a school where it was probably 80% Spanish, 20% African American, 0% Caucasian, to a school that was 99% Caucasian, 1% black. Like, so I didn't talk to nobody. I would, and I have no problem being by myself. I have no problem being alone. I actually really like being by myself. I'm not a very social person. when I'm out and about, I'm shy. I'm an observer. I'm really quiet. I don't really talk much. So it wasn't hard for me to be that way. But I would go to school. I would get my breakfast, and I would either walk to the back of the campus and sit down on the ground and read a book and eat my food, or I would just sit by myself in the cafeteria and read a book, eat my food, or listen to some music. I wasn't very social. Even during lunch, we had a teacher aide who came from UCLA, so she was young, and I would eat in her classroom during lunch because she was hella cool, and we would just talk, and she would help me fill out scholarships and stuff so that I could go to college. So she was really like my friend. I didn't really have friends like that when I was at that school, and I wasn't very social. I wasn't really trying to make friends. I didn't fit in. I was black. So I never really had no issue. I didn't say much. I would either sleep in class or just do my work, but I always made all A's, so my teachers never said nothing to me. I never had no issues. So for me to come to school like that, they was just probably like, whatever, I don't care. She don't cause problems. Let her do her thing, whatever. But there was one student who was in my English class, and she was like, yesterday when you was in English class, Miss Odell asked you a question, and you were just like, huh? Like, she said, you just kept looking at her like, huh? And you wasn't answering nothing, and she just ignored you and went on to the next person. And I'm like, bruh, I do not remember that. No remembrance of that. I still can't. I think it's recollection. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up after this video is over. But I really had no memory of that, like no memory at all whatsoever. So it was really crazy how you could really like take a drug, I guess, a drug like that, and it just really just f your whole world up, and you don't know what's going on. You don't got no memory of nothing. But it was a cool experience. I mean, every time I've had edibles after that, I've never been able to get high, except for one other time. I was in LA with my I call him my godbrother. We went to LA because we were gonna move to Pasadena together, and we had went out, and I had never been to LA before, so we had went out, and he took me with his friends and stuff, and we had some brownies, and boy, we was smacked. I'm talking about we was smacked. He parked my mama's car on this tall hill in LA, and it was probably the steepest hill I ever seen in my life. We was really like this, and we was trying to leave, and we was parallel parked between two cars, but we were so high, like we felt like every time the car moved, we was about to bap the one in front of us, or we was gonna bap the one behind us. Like, we sat there for probably 20 minutes trying to figure out how we was gonna get out that parking space because we was so high. And then his friend came outside and moved the car in 2 seconds. Legit, 2 seconds. So that just shows you how smacked we was, because I don't think his friend was intoxicated or under the influence at all. But that was the only 2 times I've ever been affected by an edible. But it was a cool experience, and I kind of want that feeling again. Now that I'm older, I want to do it again and be able to actually really enjoy it. But they don't do nothing for me. I will have an edible and be with other people, and they'll eat the same edible, and they be lit, and I'll be sitting there like bored. So I don't know what it is. I think I overdid it on my first time, and it was just my body just, I don't know, became immune after that. I don't really know. But that was the story of my first edible experience, and be on the lookout for my next video. I'm gonna tell y'all about the first time I ever got drunk. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, thanks for leaving comments, thanks for sharing my channel, thanks for watching my videos all the way through. If you do, if you don't, thanks for even watching 6 minutes of it. At least you watched something. Until next time, I'm out.